Hi, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Maldonado. I am back because I've prepared another guided reading lesson for you. So, our lesson for today is A Tale from Cuba. Okay, and the title of that is Estella and the Fox. Okay, and this is by Macmillan McGraw-Hill, and it's illustrated by Carol Kroll. Okay, so I will start reading this for you. And remember, boys and girls, that as we are reading, there are vocabulary words that we are going to be focusing on. Okay, Estella and the Fox, A Tale from Cuba. Have you ever worked with a friend? How did you help each other? What would you do if your friend didn't help? Long ago, a girl named Estella lived in the country. She was a kind girl and a good friend to all the animals that lived nearby. One day, Estella was planting wheat when Fox stopped by to ask what she was doing. I am planting wheat, Estella explained. I will use the wheat to make fresh bread. What a fine idea, said Fox. Fresh bread is so scrumptious. Then you can be my partner, said Estella. We can work together to grow the wheat, and then we can share it. What a fine idea, said Fox. I am happy to be your partner. So Estella asked Fox to help her with the planting, but instead of helping, Fox said, You are so much better at planting than I am. Why don't you plant the wheat and I will take care of the rest? Okay, so let's look at both of our vocabulary words. We have scrumptious, okay, and scrumptious here is means that it's very delicious. Okay, so scrumptious means very delicious, and partner is someone who works or plays with you. Okay, so we see scrumptious here, and we see the word partner. Okay, so our first question reads, what is Estella doing? So if we look, we see that Estella is planting. Okay, and what does what does she say to the fox? Okay, she says to the fox that it says one day when Estella was planting wheat, the fox stopped by to ask what she was doing, and she says, I am planting wheat. Estella explained, I will use the wheat to make fresh bread. Okay, so that's what she was saying to the fox. Okay, and then the last question reads, why doesn't Fox help her plant the wheat? So why doesn't Fox help her plant the wheat? Okay, so Fox doesn't help her plant the wheat because remember at the bottom it says, what a fine idea, said Fox. I am happy to be your partner. But Estella asked Fox to help her with the planting, but instead of helping, Fox said, you are so much better at planting than I am. Why don't you plant the wheat? I will take care of the rest. So that was just an idea that Fox had. He said that he did not want to plant the wheat. That's because he said that she was better at that. But let's see what happens next. Fox waved goodbye and ran off. So Estella planted the wheat by herself. Weeks passed. Estella noticed that thick grass was growing and crowding the wheat. She said, I must pull up the grass or the wheat will not grow tall and strong. So she got to work immediately. Estella had been pulling up grass all day in the hot sun when she saw Fox walk by. Hello, Fox, called Estella. We must pull up the grass so that our wheat can grow. I would very much appreciate your help. Dear Estella, I am afraid I cannot help you right now, said Fox. My brother and I are going hunting today. Why don't you go ahead and pull up the grass, and I will take care of the rest. Fox waved. goodbye and ran off. So Estella pulled up the grass by herself. So what do you think, boys and girls? What do you think of the fox so far? Okay. He um he told her that he would come back and help her later. Okay, so let's take a look at our vocabulary word. And remember, our vocabulary words are usually shaded. Okay, so our vocabulary word is appreciate. And if we look down here at the bottom, appreciate means being thankful for something or someone. Okay, so why is Estella pulling up the grass? Why is she pulling up the grass? Well, she said that there was thick grass was growing and crowding the wheat. And she said, I must pull up the grass for the wheat will not grow tall and strong. So she started to work immediately. So that means that if there's grass there, that means her wheat that she planted is not going to grow um, big and strong like she would like it to grow. It's just like us, boys and girls, if we have a garden or we're trying to grow something and there's weeds all around there, we usually take those weeds out, right? So that our garden or whatever we planted grows nicely. Okay, so let's look at our other question. What happens when she asks Fox for help this time? Well, it says Estella saw Fox walking by, and she says, "Hello, Fox. We must pull up the grass so that our wheat can grow. I would very much appreciate your help." But then the fox says, "Dear Estella, I am afraid I cannot help you right now," said Fox. "My brother and I are going hunting today. Why don't you go ahead and pull up the grass, and I will take care of the rest." So Fox waved goodbye to her and he ran off. Do you think he's being helpful, boys and girls? That's the second time that Estella asks him for help, and he's telling her to take care of it and that he would take care of the rest. But is he really helping? I don't think he's helping very much. Okay, so let's go to our next one. Okay, our next card here. Okay, more time passed and the wheat grew tall and yellow. "Now it is time to cut the wheat," said Estella. "I must find Fox so that he can help me." Estella looked for Fox here and there until she finally found him fast asleep under a tree. "Wake up, Fox!" cried Estella. "It is time to cut the wheat and I need your help." "My dear Estella," said Fox, "I stayed up late last night and I am too tired to work today. Why don't you go ahead and cut the wheat and I will do the rest?" But this time Estella was upset and she said to Fox, "You have not cooperated with me at all. You did not help me plant the wheat. You did not help me pull up the grass. And now you will not help me cut the wheat. I thought we were partners." But Fox was fast asleep again. So Estella went to find her friend Greyhound, who was very wise. Greyhound listened carefully at Estella, as Estella told him the whole story. Then he said, "Fox has been playing tricks on you, and I think he may be planning an even bigger trick. But do not worry, Estella. I have a plan." Okay, so let's look at our vocabulary word. And that vocabulary word is cooperate. We have it up here. Cooperate means to work together to do something. Okay, so why is Estella angry? Well, if we see Estella right here, she's trying to wake up Fox again. Because Estella says that she went to go look for Fox because it says now it is time to cut the wheat. Estella said, "I must find Fox so he can help me." So Estella went out to look for Fox, And then when she found Fox, he was sleeping under a tree, as we see. And if we look at Fox, we can see that he's kind of looking at Estella with one eye and has one eye half closed. So he probably already knew that Estella was coming and perhaps was going to ask him for help. And as he told Estella, "My dear Estella, I stayed up last night and I am too tired to work today. Why don't you go ahead and cut the wheat? And I will do the rest." Whoa, Fox. So that's why Estella is angry, because Fox has not helped her, not one bit. Okay, so when we look at our second question, what does she ask Fox to do? Well, she asked him, we already read that. She asked him to help her, right? Because she had to cut the wheat. And what does Fox do? Well, he goes back to sleep again. It says, but Fox was fast asleep again. So Estella went to find her friend Greyhound. Okay, so it looks like Estella is pretty disappointed with Fox because he has let her down several times, boys and girls. And she used this word cooperate, but she added an ed. It says, you have not cooperated with me at all. You did not help me plant the wheat. You did not help me pull the grass. And now you will not help me cut the wheat. I thought we were partners. Yeah, Fox is not being a good partner, boys and girls. He is not synergizing with Estella, helping her. Okay, let's see what happens next. Greyhound told Estella to cut the wheat and put it in her barn. Estella did as Greyhound said. Then Greyhound hid under the wheat and waited. Before long, Fox arrived at the barn, pulling a wagon. When he saw all the fine wheat, he did a dance and sang, "This wheat is very fine, 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 and now it will be all mine, mine, mine." But just as Fox was gathering a big pile of wheat, Greyhound jumped out. "Shame on you, Fox!" Greyhound cried. "It was your responsibility to help Estella. You were supposed to be her partner. Instead, you did nothing, and now you are stealing her wheat." Greyhound chased Fox away, and Fox was never seen again. Estella was very thankful for Greyhound's help. She used the wheat to make delicious bread, which she shared with Greyhound and all the other animals. Okay, boys and girls, so let's look at our vocabulary word for this section here, and it is responsibility. So responsibility means something you are expected to do. Okay, whoops, let's go back to this page here. Okay, so the first question says, what is Fox's plan? So his plan, boys and girls, was to take the wheat. Let's look at the illustration here. Look at the wagon that he brought. He was putting all the wheat in the wagon and he wanted to take it. He even did a little dance and a little song saying that the wheat was fine and that it was going to be all his. He said, it's going to be all mine. Okay, so the next question reads, how does Greyhound help Estella? Well, remember when Estella went to look for Greyhound, Greyhound was a very wise animal. So wise means that he was very smart. So he told Estella, he advised her that that Fox was up to something else, that he would hide in the barn where the wheat was, and he would protect the wheat. Okay, so because remember the Greyhound told Estella that he was up to something, so he knew that Fox was going to come back to get the wheat. Okay, so how does Greyhound help Estella? So she helps chase Fox away so that Fox doesn't steal the wheat from Estella. Now the last question reads, What does Estella do with her bread? So it says that a greyhound chased Fox away and the fox was never seen again. Estella was very thankful for Greyhound's help, so she used the wheat to make delicious bread, which she shared with Greyhound and all the other animals. So she was very grateful that Greyhound was able to help her so that the fox didn't take her wheat that she worked so hard for, boys and girls. All right, so let's go to our next section here. And this is our vocabulary meaning match. And before we get started with this activity, boys and girls, I wanted to point out a couple of pictures that I added here for you. So if we see here at the top, okay, at the top left corner, that is a greyhound. So that is what a greyhound looks like, okay? And if we see on the right top corner, this is a picture of some wheat bread. So this is the kind of bread that Estella made with her wheat and shared with the animals. And down here at the bottom, boys and girls, that is a barn. Okay, so that's where Estella hid her wheat, and that's where Greyhound was hiding and also was there to protect the wheat. Okay, so now we can get started with our vocabulary meaning match. Okay, but before we get started, boys and girls, I want to invite you to join me for this activity. And in order for you to do that, you will need something to write on and something to write with. Once you have that, I want you to number, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 1 through 5. I want you to number 1 through 5, and we're going to be using our vocabulary words that we just learned that were in our story to match them with their meaning, okay, with their definition. Okay, so our first vocabulary is responsibility. Next, we have appreciate, scrumptious, partner, and cooperate. So those are our vocabulary words that are in our word bank there. And we're going to be using those vocabulary words to match them with a definition. All right, boys and girls. So for number 1, get your pencils and papers ready. Number 1, very delicious. What is something that is very delicious? Which one of those vocabulary words reminds you of something that means very delicious? Okay, so if you thought it was scrumptious, you are correct. And also, boys and girls, we are only going to use the vocabulary words once, okay? So go ahead and I want you to write scrumptious for the first word. And scrumptious is a very long, fancy word. Scrumptious. Okay, so for number 2, something you are expected to do. Something you are expected to do. Which one of those vocabulary words in the top reminds you of something you are expected to do? We all need to have this, boys and girls, and that is responsibility. We need to have responsibility. Okay, so write that word for number 2. It's another long word, responsibility. Okay, for number 2. Okay, number 1 was scrumptious. Number 2, responsibility. All right, number 3, being thankful for something or someone. When you are thankful for someone, for something or someone, you what? Being thankful for something or someone. This is something that we should also do, boys and girls. We should appreciate. Okay, we appreciate our parents that help us. Okay, appreciate. Okay, so make sure you write that word for number 3. Appreciate. Being thankful for something or someone. We appreciate that we have a home. We appreciate that we have food to eat. We appreciate we have clothes. There's a lot of things that we appreciate. All right, number 4. To work together to do something. To work together to do something. And this is something also that we should also do. Okay, and that is cooperate. Cooperate. We have very long, fancy words today in our vocabulary words, boys and girls. Okay, so for number 4, cooperate. Okay, make sure you're writing those vocabulary words. And now we're down to our very last one. And that word, okay, well, let's read our definition first. Someone who works or plays with you. Someone who works or plays with you is your partner. Okay. Sometimes when we play, we have a partner to play with, or sometimes when we're doing work, we have a partner to work with. I know in school we had partners and we used to work together in partners. All right, so let's go to our next activity. And now, before we get started, boys and girls, I want to point out these pictures. So here is a picture of a fox. Okay, so that's the kind of animal that wanted to take the wheat. And this is a picture of what the actual wheat looks like. And this is some wheat. Okay, that's how the wheat grows. And this is the actual wheat that they use to make food. Okay, so again, we have the same vocabulary words. Now we're going to use those vocabulary words to fill in the sentence. Our first vocabulary word is responsibility. Next, we have appreciate, scrumptious, partner, and cooperate. Okay, so let's read our first sentence, boys and girls. And again, you can join me for this. Okay, so go ahead and number your papers from 1 through 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you do not have to write the sentence. You can just write the words. Okay, number 1. My grandmother made a blank meal. My grandmother made a blank meal. Grandmas usually make these kinds of meals. Okay, and the word that best fits in that sentence is scrumptious. That means very delicious. Scrumptious. Okay, write that word. For number 1, scrumptious. My grandmother made a scrumptious meal. Okay, now let's move on to number 2. Okay, number 2 reads, Kim likes to sing and dance with a what? Okay, when we sing and when we dance, we perhaps might need a what? A partner. Okay, so another person would be a partner. Okay, so for number 2, partner. Okay, number 3. Do you blank when someone helps you? Do you blank when someone helps you? Okay, and this is a question. Do you appreciate? Are we thankful that someone helps us? That's another way of saying it. Do you appreciate when someone helps you? Okay, so write that word for number 3. Appreciate. Appreciate for number 3. Okay, I'm going to give you a minute so you can write those words because I know they're a little bit long and it might take you a little bit longer to write them. Okay, so let's move to number 4. It is my blank to wash dishes after dinner. It is my what? To wash dishes after dinner. Okay, something we are responsible for. It's my responsibility. Okay, sometimes my pen, boys and girls, makes lines. I don't know why. Okay, so for number 4, it is my responsibility to wash dishes after dinner. Okay, so that should be an I. All right, so our last sentence, and that's a pretty long word, responsibility. Pretty important word, too. All right, number 5. I blank with my sister to clean our room. I blank with my sister to clean our room. So that's the last word we have in our word bank, and that is cooperate. Remember, cooperate is to work together. I cooperate with my sister to clean our room. Okay, so while you are finishing up writing the words, if you have not finished, I am going to read the sentences for you with our vocabulary words that we just learned and used. My grandmother made a scrumptious meal. Number 2, Kim likes to sing and dance with a partner. Number 3, do you appreciate when someone helps you? Number 4, it is my responsibility to wash dishes after dinner. Number 5, I cooperate with my sister to clean our room. All right, boys and girls, you did a great job with that activity. Now we have our vocabulary questions. That means we have questions with our vocabulary words in them. And if you notice, I also have pictures here to help us with those questions. I just want to remind you, when you are answering those questions with a statement, remember to start with an uppercase letter. Remember to leave your finger spaces in between your words. And remember, at the end of your statement, you have a period at the end. Okay, that's how we finish our sentences, with a period at the end. Okay, our first question reads, how do you and your family cooperate to get jobs done? Well, we see a family here. They're cooperating. Perhaps they're making lunch or dinner, and they're all working together. What's a way that you cooperate with your family to get a job done? It could be maybe cleaning something, cleaning your house. It could be maybe washing your car. It could be different ways that a family can cooperate. Or it could even be preparing a meal like this family's doing here. Okay, number 2. What things at home and at school do you appreciate? What is something you appreciate from home, things at home and things at school? That means, what are you thankful for at home and at school? Okay, number 3. What is the most scrumptious food you have ever tasted? Remember, scrumptious means very delicious. Okay, very tasty. All right, we see a young man here indulging in some pizza. That means he is enjoying that pizza, that he likes it. Okay, boys and girls, you did an awesome job with our guided reading. Kiss That Brain has worked so hard. All right, let's move right along. Okay, now we have our sight word Scrabble game. Okay, so we are going to get started. Okay, so we have 4 letters to put together to make a sight word. We will use the 2 bottom rows to help us figure out the mixed up letters that make up the sight words on the top 2 rows. Let's have some sight word fun. All right, so here's the words that are all mixed up. Okay, the letters are all mixed up, so we have to put them together. Okay, and in order to do that, boys and girls, we're going to use the bottom 2 rows of sight words that are in red, okay, to help us figure out which, what each one of those mixed up letters, what word, sight word it is, okay? So we're going to look at this very first one, and we're going to look at the letters S-I-T-H. So I'm going to come out here to the bottom. Does this have an S? No. Does this have an S? No. Do we have an S here? Nor here, nor here, nor here. Do we have an S here? Yes, we do. Do we have an I? Yes. T? Yes. And an H? Yes. So I am going to circle that word. Okay, and I am going to write it underneath here. Okay, and I use the T, the H, the I, and the S. And that sight word is this. This. Okay, let's look at our next set of letters here. A-T-T-H. We have an A, no T. We have an A, we have a T. We do not have an H. No A's. We have an A, no T. No A, no A. We do have an A. And I see the two T's and I also see an H. So I am going to circle that. And boys and girls, I'm circling it because I'm only going to use the sight word once. Okay. So if it's circled, that means I'm going to skip it. I'm not going to use it again. Okay. So I'm going to write it underneath here. Okay. We use a T-H-A-T. That sight word is that. That. Okay, next we have V-E-F-I. No V here, no V here. I have a V, E, F, and an I. Circle that. I am going to write it here, F-I-V-E, F-I-V-E. And that sight word is five. Five. Okay, next we have K-B-C-A. K-B-C-A. We have a K. Do we have a B? Nope. No K here. We have a K, we have a B, we have a C, and we have an A. Circle that and write it down here. B-A-C-K. B-A-C-K. That sight word is back. Back. All right, boys and girls, next we have R-E-B-A. We do not have an R. We do not have an R. No R. There's an R here, but there is no E. R-E-B-A. Okay, so we have all of those letters here. And I am going to write it right underneath here. B-E-A-R. And that word is bear. Bear. Okay, next we have R-D-I-B. No R here, no R here. We do not see an R here. There's an R, but I do not see a D. Okay, here's an R. Here is a D, an I, and then we also have a B. Circle that. B-I-R-D. B-I-R-D. And that word is bird. Bird. Okay, next we have K-A-C-E. We have a K, we have an A, we have a C, and we also have an E. I will circle it, and I will put it right here. C-A-K-E. C-A-K-E. And that word is cake. Cake. All right, A-O-C-T. Do we see an A here? Yes. Do we see an O? Yes. A C and a T. Circle. And I am going to write it down here. C-O-A-T. C-O-A-T. And that word is coat. Coat. All right. Next we have R-C-N-O. Do we have an R here? We do not. We see an R. We see a C. We also see an N and an O. Circle, and then I'm going to write it down here. C-O-R-N. C-O-R-N. And that word is corn. Corn. Next we have L-D-L-O. L-D-L-O. Okay, circle. and write it underneath here, D-O-L-L, D-O-L-L. And that sight word is doll, doll. All right, boys and girls, so let's read those sight words together. Okay, I'm going to read the top row first of the words that are circled, and then we'll read the bottom row together. Okay, let's read them. Let's get started, read them together. Cake, cake. 5, 5. Doll, doll. This, this. Bear, bear. Coat, coat. Back, back. Corn, corn. That, that. Bird, bird. Good job, boys and girls. You did an amazing job with those sight words. Okay, it's good to practice them so we won't forget them, so we get ready for next year when school starts again. All right, boys and girls, now it's time for math time. All right, so let's get started. Let's see what math we're going to be working on today. Okay, so we have a word problem here, boys and girls. And at the bottom of a word problem, I see a number line. But if you take a look at the number line, it looks a little different. Well, guess what? Our number line is by tens. Okay, so we're going to be counting by tens in our number line. We are used to seeing our number lines by ones. Okay, so now we have our number lines by tens. Okay, so let's read our word problem. There are 50 students playing a kickball game at recess. 20 students leave the game to go back to class. How many students are still playing kickball? Okay, so what we're going to do first is we are going to circle our numbers because that's important information. We're going to be using to solve our problem. And next we're going to underline the question that we have to answer. So that question says, how many students are still playing kickball? So that means there are 50 students, okay, that are playing kickball, and then 20 students leave. So is that going to be more students or is that going to be less students? Well, if you said less, you are correct. Okay, so I am going to write it two different ways. I am going to write it like this. 50 take away 20. Okay, like that. Or I can write 50 take away 20 equals. And then I have my answer. Okay, so what we're going to do, boys and girls, is we're going to start with 50 here. Okay, because then there's 50. So we're going to count back 20. Okay, remember we're counting by tens. 10, 20. So this is our answer. Okay, and now we'll write 10, 20. That's what we use, remember, because we have 20 here. Okay, we have 20 here. All right, so we had to go back 20 because those are the students that left to go back to class. So how many students did that leave us with? So that's our answer. So our answer is 30. Okay. So 50 take away 20 equals 30. So our question reads, how many students are still playing kickball? So there are 30 students still playing kickball. Okay. And we can write that sentence. There are 30. And what about if I didn't know how to spell students? What can I do? Yep, I can go back and I see the word students right there in the word problem. There are 30 students. Okay, there are 30 students still, and I have all that word, still playing kickball. I can just copy that. Still playing. And like I said, if I didn't know how to spell any of these words, I can go back into the word problem and get the words from there. So there's my sentence to answer my question, my statement. There are 30 students still playing kickball. All right, boys and girls, let's go to the next word problem. You have $60 and spend $10. How many dollars do you have left? Okay, again, we have to circle our important information that we're going to be needing to solve our problem. And we're also going to underline our question that we have to answer. Okay, so we have $60 and I spent $10. So does that mean I'm going to have more or that I'm going to have less? I'm going to have less. So that means that I have to subtract. So 60, take away 10. Okay, or I can write it the other way. 60 take away 10 equals, just so you can see, boys and girls, we can write it the two different ways, okay? So if you see it one way, don't get confused. It's the same thing, okay? So we're going to start with 60 here in my number line, and I am only going to take away 10. That means that I only need to move one space because remember, we're counting by tens, so this is going to be my answer, okay? So my answer is going to be 50. Okay, so remember, I have to answer my question. How many dollars do you have left? I have 50. And if I didn't know how to spell dollars, I have it right here in my word problem. I have $50. And I also have the word left. And I'm done, so I put a period at the end. I have $50 left. Okay, next word problem. The school cafeteria made 80 slices of pizza for lunch. 60 slices of pizza were eaten during lunch. How many slices of pizza are left over? Okay, we have to circle our numbers because that's important information. Underline the question that we have to answer. Okay, so the school cafeteria made 80 slices for pizza, but it says 60 slices of pizza were eaten during lunch. So if they were eaten, is there going to be more pizza or is there going to be less pizza? That's right, there's going to be less pizza. So that means that, again, we have to take away. So we have 80, take away 60. And I'm going to write it the other way so you can get used to seeing it both ways. You don't have to write it both ways, boys and girls, but I'm doing it just so that you can see that it's the same thing, okay? So we're going to start with 80 here, and we have to move 60, okay? So we have to count by tens 60 times till we get to 60. Count by tens till we get to 60. Okay, ready? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60. So this is our answer. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60. Okay, so just so that you can see, you have a visual, okay, of what I did, just to explain to you how I got my answer. So my answer is going to be 20. Okay, because what I moved is the 60 that we have here. Okay, so I started with the 80 right there. That's the number at the top. I moved 60 spaces, or yeah, counted by 60 back. Okay, and I got my answer down here, which is 20. So 80 take away 60 is 20. So now we have to answer our question. How many slices of pizza are left over? There are how many? 20. And we have slices of pizza. There are 20 slices of pizza. And then I have the word leftover here as well. Left over. Period at the end. Okay, so I've answered my question. And remember, when you have a word problem and you have to answer a question when you write your sentence, make sure you go back into the word problem to get words that you need help with because they're already there. Okay, next problem. There are 50 fish in the fish tank at the pet store. A customer buys 40 fish. How many fish are now in the fish tank? Okay, so we're going to circle our numbers because we're going to need those to solve our problem. And then we're going to underline our question because that is the question that we have to answer. Okay, so there are 50 fish in the fish tank, boys and girls, at the pet store. So if a customer buys 40, does that mean there's going to be more fish in the fish tank or less fish in the fish tank? There's going to be less. So that means we have to take away. And remember, we always, when we are subtracting or taking away or using a minus sign, we always have to put the greater number first, okay? The greater number, the bigger number always goes first. Okay, so I'm going to write it again a different way, but remember, it means the same thing. Okay, so there's 50 fish in the fish tank, but a customer buys 40, so we're going to count back by tens till we get to 40. Okay, so we're going to start at 50. Okay, so help me count to 40. 10, 20, 30, 40. So that is going to be my answer. Okay, that's my answer. And my answer is 10 here, and my answer is 10 here. How many fish are now in the fish tank? So there are, and I need to leave my finger space, there are 10 fish in, and I have in the fish tank right here. In the fish tank. Period at the end. Okay, so there's our answer. Okay, we just solved it. Okay, let's go to the next one. A school library has 70 books. 20 of the books are checked out. How many books are now in the library? Again, let's circle our important information, our numbers. How many books are now in the library? Okay, so if there's 70 books and 20 of the books checked out, is there going to be more books in the library or less books? There's going to be less. So again, we take away 70, take away 20. Okay, 70, take away 20 equals what? Okay, so that means we start at 70. We have to count to 20 by tens. 10, 20. This is our answer. We have 10, we have 20. That's the numbers that we move, but down here is our answer. So that is 50. Okay, now we're going to answer the question that's underlined. How many books are now in the library? So there are 50 books. And if I didn't know how to spell books, I can go back into my word problem because we have the word books there. Books. There are 50 books in the library, and I can just copy it from there. In the library. Period. Period at the end. All right. So we have our answer there. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, Brenda has a book with 80 pages. If she reads 30 pages, how many pages will be left? Okay, so that means if she already read some pages, does that mean she's going to have more pages to read or less pages to read? She's going to have less pages to read. So again, we have to take away 80, take away 30. Again, I'm just writing it the same way so you can get used to seeing it both ways. Okay, so we're going to start with 80. And we're going to move backwards, boys and girls, because remember, we're subtracting, so the numbers are going to get smaller. We're going to count by tens till we get to 30. Okay, we're going to start with 80. Okay, 10, 20, 30. That's our answer. 10, 20, and 30. So that means that our answer is going to be 50, the number that we have there in the number line. Okay, so it says how many pages will be left. Okay, there will be how many? 50 pages, and I can go back into my word problem, and the word is there, and then the word left is also there, and then that's it, a period at the end. There will be 50 pages left. Okay, so there are 40 oranges in a tree. If Jason picks 10 oranges off the tree, how many oranges are left on the tree? Okay, so if he's going to pick them off the trees, that means there's going to be more oranges or less oranges? There's going to be less oranges. So again, we are going to subtract. We use a minus sign. Okay, 40 take away 10. Again, I'm just using it so you can get used to seeing it both ways. Okay, so remember, if we're subtracting, we're going to go backwards. Okay, so I'm going to start with 40, and I'm only going to move 1 because it says I'm only taking away 10. Remember, each space that we move is 10. Okay, so it's counting by tens. Okay, so our answer we see here at the bottom is 30. Okay, now we have to answer our question. How many oranges are left on the tree? There are, what was our answer? 30 oranges. I see the word oranges in my word problem. There are 30 oranges left on the tree. Copy it straight from there. Left on the tree. Period at the end. All right, and we're all done with that one. There are 20 children on the school bus. If 10 children get off the bus, how many children are still on the bus? So if some students are getting off the bus, that means there's going to be less, right? So again, we have to subtract. So 20 take away 10. Okay, and I'm going to write it the other way as well. Okay, so we start with 20, and we're only going to move 1 because it's only 10. So our answer is going to be 10. Okay, now our question says, how many children are still on the bus? There are 10, and I can go back into my word problem. It's children is there. There are 10 children still on the bus, straight from the word problem. Still on the bus. Period at the end. Okay, so remember, use your words to help you from the word problem. All right, boys and girls, now it is your turn to log on to MobyMax. You're going to go on to www.mobymax.com. So step number 1, once you get there, you're going to click on this orange sign in box there. Okay, step 2, once you sign in, make sure you are in as a student, and you are going to you're going to right here where this says school name, you are going to go to step number 3. You're going to type in Guadalupe Center. Okay, so you can pause the video here so you can write it. I will write it for you. Well, it's actually right here as well. You can probably see it. And you can, once you type in Guadalupe, I want you to hit this word find. Then you're going to see that it's going to come up. I want you to click on that. Then we're going to go to step number 4. Make sure you're in as a student still, and make sure that you see Guadalupe Center there at the top. Okay? Because if it does not say Guadalupe Center, that means that you are not in the right school. Okay? For your username and your password, you are going to use your student number, your lunch number. Once you put your student number on both of them, it's going to be the same thing for both. Then you can click on this sign in button there. Okay, then we go to step number 5. You are going to click on the books. Okay, once you click on the books, you're going to go to step number 6. And then you're going to go into this math box. You're going to click on that. And now it's going to be your turn to work on your math lessons on MobyMax. All right, boys and girls, I hope you've enjoyed my lessons for today. And I will see you next time.